So we are back with another Icarus update, week 175, and this week we are going to be able to get changed on the surface with the environmental suits. We'll be able to swap them over, so that's going to be a welcome change. So we won't have to keep leaving the planet to actually get a new environmental suit, especially when new ones come in or you want to change, do something different, whatever, try a different one. Also, after last week's update with the siege, the change to the way the seeds, you get the seeds, there was a lot of people that wasn't too happy about that, and they've actually made some changes. They're not going back on it, but they have made some changes. I've had a look at the seeds, and it's actually not too bad, but a few tweaks would actually make it better. Okay, so let's dive in, and we're going to start with the notable improvements as always. So if tamed mounts fall out of the world without freezing correctly, they will now attempt to teleport to owning player if online, or to their last grounded location. Fix auto reload message showing up for both client and host when initiated by client. Fix clients being able to see the hammerhead slug boss spawner and boss icon at the same time. Attempted fix of the crop plot tooltips so they display correct information and growth progress when snapping between them as a client. Okay, so those are the notable improvements. So this week, seed revisit and buffs. So last week we wanted to ensure that seed amounts throughout early, mid and late game were meaningful and give players more options to opt in to a larger seed stockpile when they want to start a farm. Okay, the passionate reception to this has identified some continued annoyances that we're addressing this week: seed processing time, specific large plant seed amounts, and seed storage. Last week's edition of the seed extractor took too long to process each seed. I agree. We have lowered the 60-second timer to 30 seconds. We kept the seed extractor crafting cost low so players can choose how many to build, just like the drying rack or furnaces, allowing you to drop off a bunch of produce, go on a mining trip, and return to seeds ready to plant. Fair enough. We also saw that some of the seed recipes were too expensive when compared to the harvest quantities from the wild. We reduced many of the requirements to create seeds and boosted some crop yields. Yields can feel significantly different from player to player depending on if they are handpicking in the wild, crafting sickles, farming, building greenhouses, using talents, crafting attachments, using fertilizers, or beekeeping. Yeah, there's a lot in the game when it comes to farming. You don't necessarily need to use it all, but yeah, I don't really use fertilizer because it's just me on my own when I'm building and stuff like that, so I don't feel like I need it. I do have a bee hive thing, but yeah, that's mainly because I wanted the honey and stuff. So the seed pouch and farmer's satchel are also receiving buffs to their number of slots this week. The seed pouch capacity is doubled to 12 from 6, while the farmer's satchel can carry 8 more seeds for a total of 24, which was from 16. This week we're also adding a new attachment for the harvesting cart to make mass seed gathering on the farm easier, the seed harvester. This will enable your cart to quickly provide seeds, allowing you to rapidly expand your farmland. There we go. So that's all about the changes made to last week's update. So I'm sure that'll be a welcome change. Like I said, I have had a look at the seed thing. I think what annoys me the most is the attachment thing that I need from a sickle to be able to get the seed to start with. But the actual the generator for the seeds, you can actually craft on yourself, and it's pretty cheap. So you could literally, you don't need the attachment. You can just do that. Chuck the actual. You can just, get your crops from the wild and then just chuck them in and get the seeds that way. So yeah, and now they've actually sped it up, and you need less. So not too bad. So this week, Equippable Envirosuits. A major change this week allows players to bring multiple Envirosuits from orbit via the orbital exchange interface and replace your current Envirosuit. In the original mission-based format, the player loadout selection and envirosuit decisions were locked in choices that modified your gameplay. Envirosuits were a special case versus all other items in the game. Even after our transition to an open world game, Envirosuits remained a complex case, which required refactoring of several core inventory systems. With this update, Envirosuits can now be replaced by another suit, allowing players more customization options each time they leave their base. This also allows us to add more envirosuit options without worrying about locking players in to their decision for an entire prospect. Yeah, I do like this idea because like it helps if you're not in the open world and you're just doing the missions, so the session-based missions, you can't go back up and change it. So having the option to be able to change your envirosuit depending on what you're doing on the actual surface it makes a big difference, because there might be certain envirosuits that you might need for certain scenarios. So that actually does make sense, and I do like that. And so next week we're getting base deployables, which is a rework to the sign system, allowing more sign materials and allowing you to label and decorate your base in more styles as you desire. So yeah, that is actually what's coming next week. So there we go. So not a bad week. We've got the envirosuits that we can actually swap out, and there's been a buff to the actual seeds. It's nice to see a buff rather than a nerf, that's for sure. Anyway, guys, that is it from me this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.